Hello, today is July 30th. You've joined the Kubeflow community call, and this call is being recorded. We are governed by the Kubeflow Code of Conduct and appreciate everyone's effort to abide by those guidelines. We have a great follow-up this week on our release 1.9 and the success we've had there. And I believe we have Ricardo here to give us information accordingly. Ricardo, would you like to take it from here?
Yeah, sure, Josh. Thank you. Um, just last updates on the 1.9 update. We're finishing the video recording to announce all the features and details with Kubeflow 1.9, along with all the working group leads and the release team. The only thing that we're missing before announcing this video is we need the submission from the notebooks working group. After that, we can merge this video and post into the social media. Yesterday, we had our first session of the retrospective meeting. Unfortunately, we could not finish on time. So we'll have another session for the retrospective meeting for the next Monday on August 5th. And after that, when we finish the retrospective meeting, we're gonna share everything about uh, the release team thoughts on how 1.9 went. And after that, we'll start planning the 1.10, where we're gonna form another release team to work on the 1.10 release. And we'll welcome everyone to join the 1.10 release team. If you want to step up, please do so. I'll keep you guys posted on all the planning steps for the 1.10 release. So I'm gonna share the issue when I have for forming the next release team for 1.10. I guess that's it. If anyone have any questions or thoughts, please do so.
So, how many times have we asked the notebook working group to do the recording? Like more than two?
I would say yes.
All right. We may want
And
to
not
give
from no
them,
single person.
yeah, we may want to give them one more shot and just say, hey, we'll just have somebody else record. I mean, it's not a lot of stuff there, right? I mean, somebody else could record that. We could get that done. I think it would be good to get that video up relatively soon.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'll give another day for the submission. Otherwise, I'll see if there's anyone who actively contributes to the notebooks working group to see if they can record the video.
And do we have, I know this isn't I'm asking the community, do we have anyone that can tell us any stats on, how many people looked at any of the web pages, either or LinkedIn, or do we have any social media feedback on success on exposure? I hear some talking. I'm not sure who that is. The only data point I have is I posted some stuff on LinkedIn. We got about 6,000 views. The high number of views that we've had has been maybe 12,000, but that was before we put up, the LinkedIn sites directly from Kubeflow and we started pointing stuff. So it could be that a lot of traffic now is going to where it should be, which is directly to the Kubeflow community. Anyway, I'm just wondering, we don't have Amber here, do we? we have anybody from the outreach working group that has any view of the the analytics from the social media stuff? Anybody? Okay.
I think it's only Amber. I think she's got the keys to the kingdom.
Keys to the kingdom. All right. Well, I'll ping Amber. She's been sending stuff over recently, so I
So
will.
Josh, I have information for Kubeflow LinkedIn if you want to know.
Yeah.
So on the post that Amber did, let me see. We got 75 reactions, and I think what is it? Yeah, I don't know if I can check like
Are you looking to
that
try to
quick.
find impressions?
Yeah, I don't know if I actually have access to impressions since I'm not admin on this page.
Yeah.
Well, 75 is not bad. I think, again, on mine, I think we got about 120, which was higher than a lot of other times. So, we need to drive that traffic to the Kubeflow.
I think the problem that we just have 2,700 followers for the Kubeflow LinkedIn because it was not active for last 4 years.
Mhm.
So I think we need to do something to ask more people to subscribe to this page and
Mhm.
make it more active, on a regular basis somehow.
Yeah. I mean, my big request on this one is just to see how many people actually read the blog post. The blog post was long. It would be interesting if we got any kind of views. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the blog post was long. How many views we got and that type of thing might be very helpful to just do a release by release or comparison as we come out with the next release. Okay. Ricardo, once again, great job. Oh,
Yeah, sorry,
Matteo.
Josh.
Yeah,
Sorry
go
to
ahead.
interject here, but actually it's a point that I've added in the notes. It may be relevant. Speaking about the blog post, I've noticed that I think that the style sheets sort of like prevents from displaying links, especially in the blog post. So there is later in the documents a pull request that I sent out that I think is a solution to fix it one. So if you scroll a bit down to the meeting notes, you will find the links. I just want to highlight this one maybe as well to Andre or Johan, but I think he's not here today. So I think that could be helpful because otherwise you see if people come to the blog from not from readers but from directly the website, they will see a huge page without any hyperlinks. And so let's say you get lost because it seems like it's only written, not without links to the.
Can you kind of show us what you're talking about? I'll stop
Yeah,
sharing.
sure.
Maybe you can show us because sometimes it's hard to visualize.
Absolutely. Let me try to see if
I guess I
would.
should. Could you show us, please? Sorry.
No, absolutely. Do you see GitHub?
Yeah.
All right, so this is just a display of an example. Is like on the left is the thing that as it is displayed right now from blog.kubeflow.org. And the one on the right is with the pull request changes adopted. And I think this could be beneficial because it's like, of course, this is the landing page for the blog, so it's a bit different. But especially for blog content, this is the thing that you want to see because when you access it, even from the incognito window, so now these are all links that I haven't visited yet, so you can see all the links. Otherwise, if I go to blog, Kubeflow, you see that today these are all, I mean, there are links in here, but simply you cannot notice.
It's kind of strange because for me it's showing like the blue links in Chrome.
I know why. It's like try to use incognito because it's like if you visit and then you go back. Okay, here I'm in incognito, so it doesn't remember the history as expected. But it's like, I think that it's one of the cases that you want to check it with incognito, otherwise they say you get the feeling that they appear, but simply because you visited them somehow.
It's only in incognito, right?
Yeah, so that way it's not accounting for your Chrome history.
Yeah, I think we can just do this simple change, right?
Yeah, it's and always I mean you can always revert the pull request in case that we notice something late that doesn't show up. It's the pull request 151.
Okay.
Thank you, Josh. Sorry, can't check that.
All right. I think I've lost everything. Okay, where did I go here? What happened to my capability to share? I can't. Oh, you've got it still. I think you may. Oh, here we go. It's back.
So, Josh, like I said, I'm sorry, but I need to step up for
Yeah.
another meeting. If anyone have any questions about the 1.9 or 1.10 release, feel free to ping me on Slack. I'll be happy to update as much as possible about our planning for the 1.10 release and finishing the 1.9. Just one thing, I see Amber is here. Maybe she can help us with talking about the social media and impact. And yeah, with that, thank you guys. I need to leave, but feel free to ping me on Slack.
Thank you, Ricardo. Great job with 1.9 and the retrospective. Actually, I think was tremendous. So I look forward to hearing that next week or whenever.
What
Yeah,
do we need
thanks.
what do we need on retrospect so I can look it up right quick? I mean, on stats for social media.
Oh, we just on blog.kubeflow.org for the 1.9 release. Do we have any stats that we can share about how many people read the blog?
Fortunately, I don't think I have access yet to Google Analytics. If I do, I don't see the invite. But I'll take a look. I can look up. We've gained probably in the last month. I think it's roughly almost near 100 followers on LinkedIn, and I'll have to look at Twitter. But I know our we're gaining traction on social media. I don't know about the blog, but let me take a look and see if I've got access to the analytics for the blog. And if I do, I'll just send something out to you all to share, or I'll put it in the notes. And I'll get the exact numbers on Twitter and LinkedIn for you.
All right. Great. Great. Thank you. All right. Another outreach activity was the Cloud Native Club's Project Spotlight. I don't know. Is Steve here today? Steve Wade? I know he wanted to join. I might have sent him the wrong link. Either way, Chase, you're here and you've kind of looked at this, right?
Yeah, briefly.
So we've got a group that would like to do to have Kubeflow do a presentation. And I assume this is going to be recorded. It's for a cloud native club. I believe they're out of Europe. He's got a UK. It's not a great big group, but sometimes the smaller groups actually are very tight knit and actually get a lot done. So I think it's a 30 or 30-minute kind of Q&A or a presentation with some Q&A afterwards. And the reason why when we got outreach to this, I reached out to Chase is because he's done some recent ones, and I thought he might have the material ready. But one is, kind of opening up to the community if anybody wants to pursue this and do some outreach work in this activity, and then and perhaps get it recorded, and then we can promote it. Seems like probably a decent activity. Anybody interested in promoting this? Or I can connect everybody to Steve Wade and we can have conversations to that effect, but anybody willing to raise their hand and say, hey, I'd be interested in making this presentation? Got a couple here. Who are is it? It's Steve, Chase and who else? 3 people. Okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to potentially set up a meeting with Steve and the people that want to join in can, and then you guys can hear about what it's all about and perhaps then decide. I don't think the presentation will be until October. I think they're pretty packed up. But in my opinion, doing these things kind of prep us up and get us ready for KubeCon, the whole thing. So I guess the next step would be to set up a meeting with Steve. I don't know. Chase, you posted Steve's contact information and outreach information in the outreach Slack channel. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you or anybody that raised their hand want to take the lead on this and outreach to Steve and set up a meeting and just let us know when that meeting is?
I've got time. I can do it. If you want me to.
Okay. Amber, that's great. So if y'all would just get that up and going, I don't know, who wants how we get people to. Are you just going to put that out on Kubeflow Discuss and just say, hey, we've got this meeting set up? Is that how we'll know? And then people can join if they want to?
Yeah, that's what I think is best. And now that I've got a lot of free time, if people want to just ping me on Slack too, or email me or whatever. But once I set the meeting up, I'll put it out on Kubeflow Discuss. And I can drop it in general or in our general channel. I think we've got an announced channel or something. I don't guess I should do that public, but I'll just do it on Kubeflow Discuss and then remind everybody.
Well, I think there's a thread in Slack Kubeflow Outreach, right, Chase?
Yeah, there is.
So perhaps we just watch there.
Okay, that works.
I just like Kubeflow Discuss because sometimes I miss stuff on Slack channels, but yeah, okay.
I'll try to get that set up today or tomorrow.
All right. Thanks for everybody for your interest in that. Steve seemed to be, pretty excited about moving that forward. So hopefully we can get some exposure. There was some discussion in the last meeting about the UI design. I didn't know, Andre, was there any follow-up items? I mean, we had a pretty lengthy discussion last week, right?
Yeah, so I think Heather needs to send the doc and the presentation to the Kubeflow Discuss Google group. And also we want to collect feedback from the community on this doc, right? How we can move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with the depth and the experience of, and I think that, having, I know that Stefano had worked to try to put some guidelines out, and Google had too previously. So I think this is all part of a longer plan, but as we look to refresh each of the working groups, I mean, we're starting to see not just Kubeflow pipelines, but others start to go towards perhaps a 1.0 or 2.0 of each of the working groups deliveries. Having these guidelines or these templates for the UI and trying to make them more consistent, I think is very advantageous for users. So I really applaud this effort. I don't know if there's any particular follow-up except for, we need to see the document and people need to comment on it. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah. Yes, I believe also we need to give presentation one time in this community call. So other, community members who don't follow the Kubeflow Discuss Google group can also give their opinion and feedback. Yeah, but I think let's collect let's first of all send this message to the Google group, and then maybe we can see how we can iterate. Because we want to hear other suggestions or objections. I think the biggest question is from pipelines team, because the Kubeflow pipelines is the only project which doesn't follow the Angular common web apps right now in Kubeflow. So we want to get confirmation from their side if they're okay with those changes for the long term.
Yeah. Well, and also the model registry folks are going to probably have a UI, I assume, here shortly. And Ramesh raised his hand. Ramesh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Josh, there is, I'll take a action item to see, work with Eder to see whether we can, I know he already submitted a proposal, but maybe we can continue that and bring him back here for a short presentation, maybe 10-15 minutes in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, between this Trusty AI, the model registry, Trusty AI, all the node code solutions, Spark operator, who knows what UI things are gonna come up over the next year or even the next release. So, getting this I think it's very helpful to have this conversation before we start 110, or at least concurrent with 110, right?
Definitely. I mean, especially we are at least committed towards the 110 release of a UI in some fashion for model registry using this framework in 110. So yeah, if others have similar need, we can definitely take a look at it. At least we can share our knowledge there.
Okay. Do we have any update on Trusty AI, by the way? I know that we talked about it briefly last time, but
I'm sorry, it got a little delayed. Apologies from our side. The last time Andre suggested to send a note to the Kubeflow Discuss. We have yet to do that. I will see whether we can get that one done this week so that we can have the conversation started.
yeah, I mean, look, I think that unless we set a deadline on this, we won't get to a place where, it's the 30th. What do we want to say, in a couple weeks that we have, people have put their comments together? Is that too short, too long? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I definitely want to give enough time to community. I don't want to make them do something, not rush something in there for sure. 2 weeks or even 3 weeks is good with me. I guess the question is, if at all we bring it into Kubeflow, do we want this to be part of 1.10 or something, right? That's where I really get. I'll say that, yeah. Before we finalize the roadmap for 1.10, it would be nice to, if we want a version of Trusty in Kubeflow in 1.10, it would be nice to have that decision made before that.
Yeah, I agree. And, as we look to the future and we have KubeCon coming up in November, people will, we'll be able to promote 1.9 and perhaps talk about the roadmap on 1.10. Monitoring, whatever that means, continues to be a big aspect for all, and especially LLM. So, I think that this is directionally correct. Whether Trusty AI is the exact right offer for this, I don't know, but at some point, this kind of goes to the next conversation about the no-code solutions that we have, because there's a lot of no-code tools that are coming towards the community. And just like Trusty AI, there might be multiple solutions that could be offered to the community, and they might do different things or they might overlap a bit. And, as a community, we may want to think about, do we want to have multiple tools that overlap, or are we having a hard enough time just getting our current like notebooks to respond to the release teams, and so I mean, I guess the point that as we grow the community out, I think that's great. It brings more reach. But when we look at the no code stuff, I know there's a PR out here and there's a lot of different tools, but any opinions on how we take care of something like with no code in particular? Do we want to support one tool or multiple tools? Any opinions there?
Just before we move on to this question, Josh, may I ask quick like few things on Trust AI?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think like one point from my side was also to sync with IBM folks, and I think it's still like not clear for us what are the differences between Trust AI and Trusted AI from IBM. So I would love to have some expectations. I understand that some of their projects not really active right now. But I think like it's important for us to make sure we have, we don't really duplicating efforts there, right? So I hope like, we can collaborate with researchers and especially with folks who like want to, create these algorithms like for fairness and other things you're talking about, right? With like some sort of like vendor neutral place, right, for them. Yeah, so I would love to get more clearance as well on this front.
Yeah, I'll definitely follow up on that one, Andre. See if we
Thank you.
can get you an answer. But to be honest, we are trying to. There are some of the projects that got in the Trusty AI were donated by the IBM as a seed, and we've been taking up from there. So I think it will. This probably is not much difference, but there may be. And also to the earlier question to yours, Josh, and the way we have so far we have established Trusty AI is as a group of umbrella of projects, not necessarily all the projects that we own. There were some came from IBM, we adapted, and there are a couple other like a safety trainer that we supporting from the Hugging Face, and there is another one from Mercury AI, I believe, from the LM Evolve space that we are looking at right now. So it's not a single technology will ever fill this space. I can tell you that it's a very rapidly growing segment of it, right? The whole responsibility AI section of it. So we certainly don't think that we can. A single community can handle all that. So, but it's also acting like a hub. Right now, we are focused not only our tech, some features against bias and fairness and explainability that we developed in house, but in house. Plus, then we also working towards how to make them Cube natively available. Right, that's what is more interested for our group here for Kubeflow, in my opinion. How we are taking those technologies and making it more Cube native so that we can use it in Kubernetes and Kserve, and how they are well integrated with those, right? So that's in my opinion, that is the more attractive portion of it. And then there are all the other technologies that we are bringing in. What we want to bring it in or not, and yeah, those are just going to keep coming in as we go on with this project. I might have rambled a little bit, but you get the gist of it there.
No, I think it's great. I mean, I really hope, like we can provide a place, especially for, like research labs and folks who like working on algorithm side to give them access to infra, because it's a huge problem right now for people who do like, on AI on the research side to actually scale their experiments, right? And at least like see how, like their algorithms can be evaluated. It can be useful in production, right? Because 90% of the research papers stay on the research papers, right? And 90% of the models have the same problem. So I think this is great. We just need to make sure like we're aligned with all the communities, right? Yes, and moving forward together with unified solution. All right.
Thank you.
Let me ask one question on the trusty AI. Is there maybe I'm not understanding, but is there one of the tools that helps people capture feedback from users? So like on the answers, is there some trusty AI tool?
What do you mean by
Yeah.
feedback? Yeah.
So, what I've seen on a lot of LLM type stuff is, they want to get user feedback. Was the answer good or bad, right?
The don't know about the direct feedback, but it can tell you if the model is giving you feedback, right? It can tell you, it can give you metrics about why, it can explain you why it gave you that feedback, right? That's the explainability portion of it.
Right. Yeah.
And-
I mean, there's a lot of parts to this, right? So, okay.
Right. And then there's the bias and fairness ones, which can detect bias towards various different ones. We are also looking at another feature called data drift, where the model is skewing its results one way versus the other. So, yeah, there's a bunch of things coming up in that space. There was an interesting, last week I attended a responsible AI community meeting from LFAI folks. I saw a very interesting diagram they put. They had a 8-dimension of responsible AI, and I'm not too sure. We have all of those in Trusty AI, but that seems like a goal to have to support. A full-fledged system will go towards that, and there was lots of lots of projects coming up on this for sure in this domain.
Well, I think, I appreciate your research in this area and effort to deliver. I know it's hitting a moving target, and a lot of this stuff, you can't go into production until you can show people that you've done some type of due diligence on. So I really appreciate that this is an important area for people to monetize their investments. So I think it's in the right area. So appreciate again. All right, can we talk about no code just for a second? Because I know there's an outstanding PR here. Is that all right, Andre?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we had, I think, Kale and Elvira or whatever it is, Elra. I shouldn't say that way. It wasn't Elvira, right? It's
Elira. It's
Elira. Sorry, I shouldn't say it that way. Elria, I can't even say. I'll fall over. And I think there were a few others that came up too, right? So any community opinions on, again, some of these tools do similar stuff, some of them overlap, some of them may not, but I mean, is it okay to have should we have just one tool? Should we have overlapping tools? How do we solve this? Because I think they add value. I think a lot of them are really interesting and valuable, but.
I have a quick question. What do you want to use no code solutions for?
Well, so if you've seen things like Kale, it saves a lot of steps in terms of being able to go through workflows and not have to coordinate many different pieces. Node code can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah. Just wanted to really understand that because it can mean a lot of different things, right? It's just, I mean, as a developer, I look at no code as I guess with a bit of skepticism and optimism at some point that development is changing and empowering communities that don't have a great understanding of code. But I think here lies in the danger of just using no code because it gives us that flexibility. Great power comes great responsibility, I guess. So
So
I would just recommend and just really understanding the use case, right? Is it because you want community members to develop, no code type solutions for your community to expand on? Is it a specific functionality that you want no code to address that other tools are not up to the challenge for?
I,
I'm just trying to understand that.
I don't think we need no-code solutions. We need the solutions for data scientists to quickly do machine learning at scale, right?
Right.
We need to speak deeply with data scientists and understand what tools we can give them
Yeah.
so we can quickly, do feature engineering, model training, serving in a single place, right?
Yeah.
Without knowing that everything is running on top of Kubernetes, right?
Right.
So this thing
Yeah.
we want, yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, I think there is definitely a shift in the landscape in terms of understanding code and doing what it needs to get done. But I think, using, vanilla Python, is great, especially with AI, and it's become easier to use. I would strongly, advocate, you know, a strong integration with the most generic tools out there, right? Especially when you get into Python packages and no code solutions, it becomes very dangerous and nebulous in terms of all the things you have to keep your eye on, and if something breaks, it becomes an issue. So I tend to love working as native to the code base as possible. If we'll work with Python, let's use Python and let's use it effectively, and if you need it, you need to use it so that, hey, that people that have a no code type skill set can use it easily. Then it's a documentation skill set issue because Python is very easy to do on what you need to do to work with most any ML, AL pipeline, etc. I'm just amazed that it's still being used in the most serious AI ways, even though there's some weaknesses in terms of performance. But again, it's utility, that we're looking at, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I saw showing people, and again, I only had a lot of exposure to Kale and did a bunch of demonstrations of Kale of how to build pipelines in a more automated fashion and the dependencies between steps and not having to, especially in a notebook where you might have code that's not linearly executed. It made some people excited. Some people use it, right?
Yeah, no, I don't want to step on what you're saying because I think it's a super important point with respect to looking at. So you want to integrate like the no flow feel, right? So that interface of just connecting widgets on a high level and having them snap together for the pipeline that you're currently looking to develop. Is that what you're looking for?
I think eventually you could get to that piece, and I think LRI, whatever it is, does that, and some of the others get kind of closer to it. It's not as drag and drop as, hey, I got a canvas, boom, bang, boom. But
you'd be surprised. I mean, if you look at LangChain, right? LangChain can get pretty complex, and I had actually the opportunity to take a look at Langflow, which gives you like this widget kind of like, put the different components in and then work your pipelines that way. Pipelines have been worked that way for a long time, but yeah, I'm sort of distracted on my point.
Well, the more you get away from the code, the less control you have, and then
Yeah,
maybe, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's kind of cool for a demo, but maybe in production, who knows, right?
No. But I think it's a good point. I think there's a lot of value when it comes to putting pipelines together, and when you want to visualize them, right? From a no-code perspective, because that gives you the ability to match and mix and match, try things on, hit the go button without, and then revert, roll things back, hopefully, if things don't go well. But yeah, no, I think there's a really there's been a lot of tremendous development, especially in the open source community, to give you a lot of the tool sets to give you that functionality. And I think it makes a lot of sense right now to look at who are the leaders in that space and pick a few of them that you guys want to roll with, because that's huge, I think. Putting the no code flow, if you will, in the workflow if it doesn't exist, because that's one of the, I think modernization tooling that people, need to get comfortable with it. They're not used to it now, because you're seeing that everywhere, and it's becoming more and more important. And the thing is, the to integrate and all those things are lower hanging fruits. It's not that difficult anymore to take a low code solution and just customize and snap it in anywhere you need it. So.
Well, definitely, to your point, probably helps experimentation, and I think that's a good thing. My biggest concern is there are several tools they've had on and off again type of development efforts. People have said, okay, we're ready to ramp back up, but if we had like 3 of them going at one time, and they're all kind of partially, is that better than one that we decide and try to get behind? I know that that's difficult as well. And what is, to your point, the value? We all probably look at things a little differently and deliver different types of value. So I don't know the right answer here. That's why I'm asking the community.
No, that's a very good question, and I think any delay in getting a real response and real direction when it comes to that could be detrimental, because I think the tech is moving so fast that when I saw like that type of putting together really nice workflows for something quite complex, it was an aha moment, and that was like maybe 8 months ago. So yeah, so I would encourage you guys to take a look at who the winners are, choose maybe 3, and then if they don't have the support of the community, you get behind that community and say, hey, we'll give you co-chair support, and just to kind of drive things forward. But we want to develop it further because we're obviously selfish, and we have this particular need that it can work well in. But I think, to your point, it's super important to take a look at that type of flow, especially for the pipeline methodologies, because people are expecting to see that visualization play into these pipelines that often tended to be very program heavy, intensive, very customized, but now we're seeing these widgets just, provide a great deal of power. And it's pretty amazing, yeah, just to get back to my Langflow point, the less abstractions, the better, but sometimes the right amount of abstraction is good. And in this case, the no-code solution to represent objects in this space is crucial. And I think the slower you get behind that, the slower the product is going to get to market in terms of meeting those users' needs, because that's where it's going to be at. if you look across the board of all of them, they're looking at these type of no code solutions. But what does that really mean? There is code to it. It's just the way that it interfaces.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern actually comes down to testing documentation and quality of the code to continue. So
Yeah.
these have been kind of nice projects, but the energy around them has waned a bit at times. And so that's where I'm kind of like, what do we do about projects that aren't fully, that are, anyway, that's the question. Fully.
Yeah, no, I totally relevant and totally important. I'm very new to the group. I'm just adding my 2 cents.
Mhm.
Obviously take it or leave it, but I think that's such an important aspect to pipelines and processes when you're looking at, putting, fairly complex pieces together, making it less complex through no code options. And I mean, is it just selecting like 3 tools that you can go with in committee form? And I could raise my hand and just say, hey, let me take a quick survey on what we have out there and just throw it out there and just say, hey, just to put you.
Yeah, I think there's a PR open, and there was like one tool said they wanted to donate and do more effort, and then another tool came in and said, well, what about this one? And then another one came in. So I mean, that PR kind of, or that issue probably is the best place. I don't know. We probably have it in the notes below, but we'll bring it back up. And Raymond, if you want to put some comments in on that, I think it'd be super helpful, right?
Yeah, I see it right away. I think it's super important and super timely. And so I raised my hand up, and yeah, if you guys could, just make sure that I have that URL link. I'm gonna follow up with respect to the particular PR and put my comments and follow up that way.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Look, when we came out with 1.9, our favorite topic came up again, which was, hey, you guys don't have a Helm chart. There does seem to be a group of folks that are just passionate about having some form of Helm chart. I've heard so much concern about not having it or supporting it and how the complexity and all the other stuff, but I don't know. I'm just bringing this back up about for 1.10 as a potential topic that, is there such thing as a Kubeflow Helm chart that could be delivered in 1.10? And could we get people? I know we had like 5 different projects at one point going on this, but is there some way to get something delivered here? Any comments on this?
I think it is no problem for us to create Helm charts, Spark operator in case of already doing Helm charts. It's a problem like of distributions, how they're going to consume the manifest. So yesterday we're discussing maybe we should just have a Helm chart for people who just want to use manifest and customize manifest for distributions. But I don't want to spend time right now. I think, Josh, we need to collect feedback from distribution owners and users of manifest, what type of Helm charts they're looking for. Because I think when people asking about Helm charts for Kubeflow, they don't understand what is Kubeflow, right? And this is the main problem we have right now.
Yeah, I wonder if there is some type of limited Helm chart delivery that we could do that would at least start. I'm just afraid again that we would start something that wouldn't survive over time.
Yeah.
The complexity of it might, we're adding so many different components that, all right, I just brought that up to get a flavor of where we're at. Matteo, we talked about this blog post item already, is that correct?
Yes, you can move on to the next topic. Thank you, Josh.
All right, training V2 APIs.
Yeah, I can share updates what we have right now
Okay.
if we have like 7 minutes, right? So I can share my screen, maybe just give update for the community what we've been working on for the last like in 7 months, not 7, 5 months after KubeCon. So we created this proposal, this cap, already in the training operator pull request. So just to give you like a little background, during the last KubeCon, we collaborating with Batch working group, Kubernetes Batch working group, to see how we can make training on and fine tuning on Kubernetes more reliable and easy to use. And we came up with the idea of actually using the new workload called JobSet. And JobSet is a new workload which is part of Kubernetes 6 right now, special interest group, which allows you to create multiple jobs within the group and manage them. So our idea was to how we can simplify the ability to train or fine tune, any favorite LLM on top of Kubernetes. And we want to design the training very simple for the design. So we want to split the training between two CRDs. So the first one called training runtime and the second one called train job. And the idea was training runtime is actually will be maintained by the platform engineers and also by the Kubeflow community to provide a set of recipes or a set of Kubernetes configurations which is required to fine tune or train any favorites models using different frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Paddle, XGBoost, and also using different, scheduling technologies like, MPI, also Slurm, also maybe Flux, or some things from HPC world, which also comes to the picture. And also provide a set of runtimes, which will be state-of-the-art runtime to do the fine-tuning on top of Kubernetes. And then the train job will have a minimum set of configurations to actually trigger these jobs from the data science perspective. And data scientists can use still kubectl, or they can use the Python SDK to create these train jobs. So we came up, so this proposal has some API structure. It's the idea of how this could look like. Let me maybe open this diagram so maybe make it easier to understand. So we also was thinking about how we can, streamline the whole training lifecycle with data set, how you can distribute your data across multiple machines, because usually when you do the distributed training, you have multiple PyTorch job workers which kind of span off multiple GPUs. And if you do the fine tuning, you kind of need to download your data set, download your model, and then basically you need to do the fine tuning, basically adopt the model weights on your custom data set. And we kind of by planning to provide the set of LLM runtimes, which basically will be the set of runtimes to fine tune any favorites models that we have in the industry, like the runtime to fine tune Llama, runtime to fine tune Mixtral models, Gamma models, all other models that we have in the Hugging Face, as we as a community agree to support and provide you the quick way to actually do experimentation. So this is very powerful because basically we can provide we can quickly support newer models in Kubeflow and give you the state of the art runtimes that you can reuse in your infrastructure quickly to experiment with existing models, and also applying to integrate the ability to export the trained model all the way to the different providers, whether it is OCI image or S3 or any other location where you kind of want to store your model. So I probably won't go to all the details to the API. Yeah. Any questions? Go ahead, Raymond.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go
With
ahead.
respect to the fine tuning and training, have you taken a look at the PyTorch? It's called TorchTune.
Yep. Yeah, I know about TorchTune. Yeah, so we're planning to, so I think I mentioned this in the proposal here. So right now we're using Torch Run to do distributed training on top of
Right.
PyTorch. I know that TorchTune is actually built on top of Torch Run.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually an opportunity for us to integrate TorchTune within LLM runtimes. I think I mentioned
Yep.
it. Right.
That's true. Yeah, and it's a perfect opportunity,
Do
actually.
you have any kind of connection with those communities?
Yes, I do, actually. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I was trying to actually integrate
Yep.
Intel's XPU, if you will, into, because PyTorch, the 2.3 is supposed to support Intel extensions natively, right? But there's a lot of jumps and hoops you got to do still. And so I've been working with the teams to try to see whether we could, we could offer something other than CUDA,
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's all. Yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, so my I'm getting distracted. So my point is, I see this as an excellent place to take an abstraction like TorchTune and integrate it there, because it does run off of those basic core like Torch Run and those core technologies, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it
exactly.
makes sense. Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense because it's fairly easy to run and it follows a lot of the YAML formats. So when you want to configure like the entire pipeline, you can just kind of, put things together in a very easy way, I think. It's very intuitive.
Yeah, I know that, TorchTune has a set of recipes to fine tune, like all the favorites models,
Yeah, yeah.
I understand. I think like we need to speak about experience, how data scientists can configure, because like what we notice for the fine tuning, some data scientists want to have access to the model class. Like they even like want to like, not only, like configure the hyperparameters and the lower config, but maybe they also want to like, add another layer or like change some sort of the layers within the network.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So,
TorchTune doesn't change the way you work with PyTorch, right? So ultimately, when you work with PyTorch, you ultimately, create the typical layers that you typically create. You have access to all of that, right? So fundamentally, you have access to all the classes that are running what you need to run. But and then of course you have the framework on top of that where you have the YAML access. But it pretty much puts everything uniformly, which is great. Because it really like solves a lot of like the data issues of like, where are you getting the data from? Is it compliant with Alpaca? Is it a clean Alpaca? Is it this? I mean, there's so many ways that you could work with the data sets. I think they've done a really good job in having tool sets that just, bring in the data set and work with them. And it's highly customizable. So it's very, very good. Enough of that, but I just can't talk about that enough. How good that
sure.
community is.
Let's definitely follow up. I think like our initial idea was to just implement those runtimes, like maybe just to support distributed training with Torch Run, because like how these runtimes can be created is user needs to define ML spec where they, for example, define elastic policy, some like Torch Run specific parameters, like like rendezvous backends, how many processes per node they want to run, what kind of elastic policy they want to use. And then we like they define like they replicate the job for every node when they do like all reduced distributed training. So definitely take a look, Raymond, and let me know like in terms of the, like if we can get in touch with the TorchTune community, because the next step, I guess, like to improve these LLM runtimes, we can like reuse their, like their recipes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that they're all standard, and some of them are actually based on the Hugging Face stuff. And, and when there's references, it's pretty much open source. It's pretty much out there, and you can kind of say you could trace things back, which is cool.
Yeah, like I think so. I know over time, but like I just want to mention we want to like support more than PyTorch, because like we have a lot of positive feedback from like HPC community folks, like Slurm people who like like using Flux or API, because they also see the power of actually creating the runtimes for different set of, because I know that people who do like training on-prem don't use Torch Run, they're using API because it's just faster. And they don't like on third-party cloud. Yes, probably you use Torch Run, right? But sometimes you want to use API. Sometimes you might just want to use TPUs as well, right? So we want to like work with different communities to provide state-of-the-art runtimes, like blueprints to do model training on Kubernetes, right? So this is like the main motivation behind this proposal, right? And I hope like, we can work with different ML communities to give a place for the blueprints to do model training on top of Kubernetes, right? So definitely take a look. So I think so we have like API structure and this proposal. So I would love community to give us any final feedback before we start initial implementation. And also let's definitely follow up with you, Raymond. Like you can ping me on Slack and any other like places where we can have a discussion with the Torch community.
Yep, sounds great.
Any other questions?
All right, another good call today. Thanks for everybody's time. We're over time, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the meeting and look forward to speaking to you all next week.
Thank you. See you
Bye
soon.
now.
Thank you.
Bye.